Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I'm very happy you bumped into this video because I would love for you to subscribe because we do these really interesting readings with this amazing Lenormand deck. Now, for this pick-a-card reading, I have 5 readings in mind for us to answer the very important question of, am I on track? Where am I heading? Am I heading in the right direction for me? So we're going to use these readings to get a sense of where we're heading and if this is the right direction for us. So the question is, am I on the right track? And I've got one deck that I'm going to use for 5 different readings, and we're going to do different layouts for each reading. And I have these 5 charms here for you. We have this little money charm that has little ladybugs in it and a little dollar bill in here, very cute. And we've got the ninja star, we've got the chess piece of the knight, and we have a little sword and a compass. A compass. So I have been inspired by choosing the charms that are really aligned with action and direction so that they help inspire you. So tune into these charms and pause the video if you need to get a deeper sense of resonance with them, and you'll find the timestamps in the description box. So we are going to start with this little charm here, the ladybug and dollar bill charm. All right, here we are with the dollar bill and ladybug charms, and for this reading I am going to do a line of 7. Now my deck is already shuffled, but I'm just going to shuffle it a little bit more, and I am going to fan out the deck and select those 7 cards. All right, now this is a really interesting line of 7. There is a real mix of cards, and I know it might not appear that way when you just look at the line, but in the context of the question that we're asking, am I on the right track, there are a whole bunch of interesting cards. We've got the scythe and garden here, which represent a separation. We have the child, which has to do with a new beginning, and the anchor and ship, which is a really good message that tells us that you keep doing what you're doing. So this is a really interesting line to get. So let's weave the combinations together and put it all into one story. Starting with the scythe and garden, and it's really nice to see the sun on the other side of the garden. There could have been a recent separation in your life, or perhaps you need to break off from a certain environment in order to pursue what you know you need to be pursuing. So how does this 2-card pair here answer the question? By itself, it answers the question that you're not entirely on the right track yet. There needs to be a certain break, a certain separation. You might need to drop out of a group or a certain environment in order to pursue what is the right direction for you. But what's really nice is the beautiful sun right after the garden. And that's why I felt that it could have been something that you'd recently gone through, something that you'd recently done, because the sun is an all-around card of success, liberation, relief, victory. It's an all-around wish fulfillment card. So it's very possible that you could have recently gotten rid of a certain something, certain environment, a certain group of people. Maybe you've even just decluttered your space and gotten rid of things that are no longer useful for you. And it's also the case because this is the left-hand side part of the line, so it tends to be associated with the past or possibly the earlier phases of your journey. So it's very key that the takeaway here be something that you keep in mind. You want to keep in mind that in order to move forward in the direction that is meant for you, you want to get rid of a certain something. It could be a straight up group of people, just stuff, or you need to change something. And the thing about the scythe is that it can be pretty radical, so you can expect this to be a deeper change. And I can see why, because the rest of the line is really an important beginning here that sets you sail into an important path for the longer term future. So the child is right in the middle of your line, so an important beginning is at hand. So the child can answer the question in no, in this question, this specific question. So are you on the right track? No, you need to begin something else. But I won't say that you are entirely not on the right track, because the anchor and ship have to do with sticking with your direction and setting sail in this direction. And it's very possible that you are building on something that you're doing. So the way I can put this line together is to suggest to you that Some areas you are heading in the right direction and some areas you are not. So where you are not, you want to make a change and go off in a new direction. And where you are, you want to keep on building on that. And it's potentially tricky to put the whole thing together for you, as in, unplug from the things that aren't working and keep doing the things that are working. Maybe you need to balance these two. But honestly, because of the beautiful sun here, I really feel that you're going to do this really smoothly. And I also feel, because of the child right in the middle here, that that this is right for you. You don't really question the ambition that you have for yourself. You are at one with your hopes and your desires, and you're really open to that. So that is a really, really beautiful message. But what's also interesting, and that is coming through the anchor and ship here, is that the ship comes after the anchor. Now, if you've got the cards in this direction, the ship and then the anchor, it means you are setting sail in this new direction and you're going to land. But because the anchor comes before the ship, it's very possible that you need to uproot yourself from a certain place that you're currently connected to. And I mean by place, I mean it metaphorically. The certain situation that you're in, you need to raise your anchor and set sail in this direction, which is this new direction. And the thing about the lily is that this is really important for the longer term. The lily is the card of the longer term goals. It's the card of life and lifetime. It has to do with important milestones in life. So this could be a really important phase for you, one that really sets you into a new chapter, into a new course that is going to be pretty important for your life in general. And that's why it's likely that the changes that you make at this time are kind of deeper. They're a bit more radical. They cover more areas in your life. That's really possible. But let me tell you that this entire line is super positive. There are no negative cards in this line. There are no challenging anything in this line. It's all around beautiful. And really the sun lights up the whole line. This is a wonderful new beginning for you. I want to encourage you to make that change so that you set sail in this very important direction for you. You're already doing it. You already know what needs to go for it to manifest. You're already working on this, so keep on doing this. You need to keep on moving into this new beginning because it's really going to lead to important stuff for you in your life. So what do you think of this? That is such a pretty line. I really like how there are a number of combinations that are so closely connected with the question that we're asking that it is a really good sign. It tells us that the line and the reading is on the ball. So leave me your comments below. I'd love to read them. Very best of luck in this wonderful new beginning. Forge ahead, make this change, and go forward in this important new direction is going to be important for you. So again, best of luck with it. And before I let you go, I want to remind you to have a look at the links in the description box. Plenty of resources there for you. And thanks again for tuning in, and I'm so looking forward to our next reading together. All right, here we are with the second group. This is the Ninja Star group. And for this reading, I am going to draw a medium-sized diamond. Now, I shuffle the decks between readings, but I'm going to shuffle it a little bit more here for you. And then I'm going to deal the cards off the top of the deck into the medium-sized diamond. Here we go. All right, excellent reading, excellent reading. Very crisply telling us that you are not on the right track. And so I say it's an excellent reading because this is really when cards are really helpful, because they tell you in a straightforward way that no, you need to make adjustments. So right in the middle of the line, we've got the Mountain, Mouse, and Rider. Now these are two challenging cards, and the Rider is the card of direction and goals. So it's very, very important that we get this line here. It is so crisply and clearly telling us that this is not exactly the right direction. You need to make changes. For one, the Mouse and Rider suggest that you need to slow down. That is one key that is coming out. And the second one is coming through the Mountain and Mouse here. And this has to do with a speed bump. So again, the idea of slowing down and taking stock before you keep moving forward is very clearly coming through this line. And I really appreciate it when my cards are so honest and clear with me, because that's the point, right? I don't want anything to be sugar-coated or not be the real thing. I'm using cards in order to get real insights. So here it is. It happens that we're not always doing the right thing. And we use our friend, the cards, to help us with some insight. So very clear that this is not exactly the right track. You want to slow down and reassess before you move forward. Now, what's really nice is the square in this diamond. We've got the clover, stork, book, and ship. It's a beautiful set of cards here. The clover is an all-around card of luck, and it's a very bright wish fulfillment card. So I'm really not worried about the middle line and the idea that you need to slow down and take stock, because you know what? You're going to get the insights and you're going to know what to do. What's really interesting is the book in light of the stork, in light of the clover. So you need to reassess, you need to pick up some information, you need to reevaluate, and there could have been some details that you had missed out on, and we're going to see this in this diagonal. And so you want to figure this out before you head back and set sail. Okay, so be sure you do this. Stop, take stock, reassess, get into some details, try to find out some things that you might have missed out on. Even if you need to ask someone or do some research, dig into it right now. Better now than later. These diagonals are very helpful. We've got the clover, mouse, and book. And this is a combination of cards that tells us that you've been missing out on some information and you need this information to inform your path. And what's nice is that the clover really helps with that. It really tells us that you're going to figure it out and you're going to be on your way again. And then we've got the ship, mouse, and stork. Again, here the suggestion that you want to slow down, don't rush ahead, and be sure you are more calculating or you're more aware of the details before you move forward. So this is important. Now, one thing that is coming through this diamond before we wrap up with the outer diamond is the travel cards. There are 4 travel cards. We've got the stork, the rider, the ship, and the mountain, and they're close to each other. You know, we've got these 2 cards in 2 combinations here. And so it's really likely that you may need to travel, or you have quite a bit of physical movement involved with your path right now. But again, we do have the mouse right in the middle of this diamond. So I want you to slow down and assess carefully where you're heading before you keep moving forward. And avoid rushing and jumping the gun and miscalculating. Try to be careful and get into the details because they matter. In fact, a key message of the mouse is that details matter. So I care for you not to overlook these details. I really care for you to slow down a little bit and to try to take stock of what's going on. Try to look at this objectively so that you can pick up the information that's missing or the information that you need so that you can move forward in a better direction for you, or adjust your path so that it's more aligned with what is in your highest interest or your highest good. All right, now before we move on to wrapping up with the diamond, I want us to catch up with the central column here. We've got the cross, mouse, and clouds. Now this is probably the most important message coming through this diamond because it's got the 2 challenging cards as well as the cross. The cross can be a burdensome card. It's generally about important decisions that you need to make. Well, we do have a warning combination coming through the mouse and the clouds here. The mouse and clouds is all about trouble and things going wrong, probably things that you didn't expect. So again, I really want to stress on you the idea of circling back on your plan and double checking the details, because as it stands, the way you're moving forward right now, it's going to head towards some troubles and some glitches and things going wrong. So really take advantage of the clarity and honesty of this diamond so that you double check your plan. Really take advantage of it. We're not predestined, okay? You do make your path. You do make your destiny. You use the cards to give you insight. So use this insight to adjust your path. And the cross here has to do with an important decision. Now, because of the mouse and clouds, I have to wonder if you're not taking this decision as seriously as you should. So one possibility of reading these cards is that you want to take this a bit more seriously and give it the time and the weight that it deserves. Give it the research and the time spent figuring things out because it deserves it. This is more important than you're probably thinking about right now. So take this as a sign to reassess this. This is important for you. Now, it's also possible that you have, again, like we saw in the central line, some speed bumps, some issues to resolve. and you want to resolve them first before moving forward, okay? So don't let the errors, the gaps, the issues accumulate, because then it could amount to a much bigger problem than if you deal with it as they come up. So I suggest that you take a bit of a break from your path, reassess it in general, but also fix the issues, because that could also inform how you move forward, right? It could even change your path. So you don't want to miss out on figuring these things out and understanding what went wrong, because you're probably building on it. You don't want to build on a wrong foundation. You want to build on a sound foundation. If you have gaps in your foundations, fix them now. Now take the time to go back and repolish everything and make sure everything is sound. And then once that's done and you've reassessed the path as a whole, then you might completely change directions. Of course, you're still doing the same things in your life, but what I mean to say is that it could be something pretty different from what you initially thought. So again, take advantage of the clarity of these cards. These are really, really helpful. Now, wrapping up with the diamond, we start with the four sides here. We're going to start with the one here. We've got the cross, stork, and rider. Again, this sense of importance is coming through the cross, and the stork and rider is, like we said, a combination of travel and movement. So what you're doing is important. And I think this is, again, a reminder that you might want to take this a bit more seriously. You want to get into the details more seriously, because it could lead to something important. And actually, we're going to see it right on this beautiful side here. And the second side, we've got the rider, book, and clouds. And similarly, clouds, ship, and mountain. So again, because of the book and clouds here, there are some information, some knowledge areas that you need to polish up. You need to go back and check everything. I'm not sure you have all of your information base covered, and there could be some details that you're missing out on, and you really want to figure those out before moving forward, okay, because it can lead to complications. So once you resolve these, you can move forward more easily, and then it ties into the mountain, clover, and cross, which is a very beautiful combination to wrap up the diamond with. The clover is an all-around success and wish fulfillment card. It's also a very lucky card. And what's nice is that it comes next to the cross, and together they are a very positive combination that suggests that you're in for, a major phase of good luck, an important phase of good luck, some sense of destiny that is coming through here. And I think it has to do with aligning with your good. So really, if you get these issues out of the way, if you refocus your path, and if you're willing to make changes and adjustments, then you can certainly find yourself on the right path. And this is what we're seeing through this very important side of the diamond. But I really want you to be honest about this. I really want you to give it the time and importance that it deserves, and put in an honest effort to close any gaps so that you can actually adjust and then head yourself into the right direction. So I am really, really happy with this diamond. I really appreciate the honesty, the clarity that is coming through this, and also the assurance that this is an important path, what's ahead, and that you will overcome these challenges. So a beautiful diamond. Really, I am so appreciative of it. I hope you feel the same way. I'd love to read your comments, so leave them below. I'm looking forward to reading them. And before I let you go, I want to remind you that I have lots of helpful links for you in the description, so be sure to check them out. And until we meet again on our next reading, best of luck with this, and thank you so much for tuning in. All right, here we are with the third group, and this is for the chess piece of the night. And for this group, I'm going to draw a 9-card portrait. So my deck is shuffled. I am going to shuffle it just a little bit more, and I'm going to fan out the deck to draw the 9 cards. All right, here we are with your portrait, and this is quite a pretty portrait. We've got the ring right in the middle of it, and so this tells me that you are on the right track and that you should keep on going, keep committing to what you are currently committed to. There is only the clouds that can bring up some challenges, but it's really nice to see that it's in a line where there's the clover, and it's also in a line where there's the flowers. So I would say overall, yes, you are on the right track. We're going to look at some details, some additional tips that will help you to make the most of this and to keep on going in this positive way. So let's draw these lines together and put the whole portrait in a picture. Starting with this first diagonal, we've got the flowers, ring, and fox. And this probably has to do with the job, not only because the fox is the card of the job, but there's also the lily in one of the lines. So it could bring up this idea of the job. But it can also point to a relationship that has been tricky, but it's really nice to see the flowers. And the flowers is right on the first card of the portrait, so it covers you. And so it is very positive, and it sounds like you are in this very optimistic mindset. You are enthusiastic about your path, and you're really pursuing this in a wonderful way. And the fox can indicate a tricky relationship, but really because of your positivity, I don't think it affects you, and I think you really know how to manage it. So that is a very good thing. Keep on doing it. Another way to look at the fox and ring is about your commitments and your commitment to yourself and your family. So it's really important for you to prioritize yourself and your family. And so I want you to keep this in mind as you are pursuing your path. You want to make sure you are fully aware of what's important to you, what's not, and to just pursue what's important to you. And I think you're already doing this. I just want to make sure that you're not distracted, because the clouds can bring in a bit of distraction. We'll get to it in a bit. But otherwise, you are on the right track. This is really positive for you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's working, and you're in such a great mindset. Looking at the second diagonal here, we've got the tree, ring, and woman. Again, the idea of relationships is highlighted because not only of the ring, but also the woman added to this. And the tree here is a very positive card, and it has to do with growth and growing roots. So that's another indication that you are on the right track. You know, you've grown your roots and now you're blooming. And so this is really delivering results. Keep on doing it. Again, this is another message that you're on the right track. And the woman here can be someone that is involved in your affairs and is involved in this path of yours. And again, this is a supportive relationship. Even if it were a tricky one, like we saw with the fox, I still think that the positive influences of the tree and flowers really help you manage this relationship such that it benefits you and it remains supportive to you. So a very lovely set of lines so far. You're on the right track. Now let's look at the columns here. We've got the flowers, house, and tree. This is a beautiful message, again confirming that you need to keep building on the foundations. So the house has to do with foundations and building something, and the tree has to do with growth, and the flowers is all around positive. So obviously you are on the right track. You are on the right path, building the right foundations. The foundations that you're laying, the bricks that you're laying, this house that you're building is going to bloom, and it is leading to the right thing. In the second column, this is where we have the clouds. We have the clouds, ring, and clover. So the clouds is a little bit challenging, and it could be a bit challenging in the way that the fox is, right? But you know how we saw the flowers in this line and we saw the tree in this one? Well, here we are seeing the clover. So even if there are some challenges in this relationship, I really think that the clover and everything else are telling us that it's not a big deal. These are just temporary glitches, and you come through rather easily, and you keep moving forward. So this is a very good and a helpful meaning for us for what we're asking here. We're asking if you're on the right track, and the answer is clearly yes. And the message from this column is, even if you feel sometimes that you're off track because of the clouds, you are on the right track. Just try to see through this, and your optimism and enthusiasm really help you with this, and you're going to get past these clouds and you will be back on track again. So really just a bit of distractions maybe, but I don't think it gets you off track. And keep the right perspective that you know that you are on the right track. Keep pursuing it, keep doing it. What you're doing is working. And then we've got the woman, lily, and fox. And this is a combination where I feel it has to do with work and career, because each of the lily and fox are related to work and career. And so together they bring up this theme so much more. So it's possible that this has to do with your job, your work, or your career path. It's pretty clear that you're building something solid. If this is about your career, you are on the right career path. This woman can be helpful. You might want to tap into her. Maybe she's someone who inspires you, or maybe she has some support or knowledge or experience that she can help you with. So tap into this. You know, there's no reason why You shouldn't take advantage of people's support and ask them about their experience if it helps you build that much more. And again, if this is a relationship that is a bit closer to you and it's a relationship that's more directly implicated with your current path, then I do think that any issues highlighted by the clouds or possibly the fox are overturned because of the positive influence coming through the other cards. So I do think that these are temporary glitches. And the lily is the card of the long term. So really, this is someone who is in here with you for a longer term. So manage this relationship in the smart way that you have been, because it's really working for you. Now, let's wrap up the portrait by looking at the rose. We've got the flowers, clouds, and woman. Again, the idea that there are possible issues with this person, just like we saw in the middle column, which T crosses the top row. I think they're really easily overcome. We've got the flowers in here and we've got the clover in here, and both of them really affect the card positively. And so I do think that whatever issues brought up by the clouds are overcome. Work it out with this woman, find a way to work through these issues. And I also feel that you're really calm and positive, and I don't feel that you need to make a big deal out of anything, and that is such a great place to be in. And then we've got the house, the ring, and the lily. Now that is another very positive indication that you are on the right track, because both the house and the lily are longer term cards. They tend to be conservative in character, they stick with the known path. And so it's very clear that you are building the right thing for the future. And the lily is the card of the long term, and it's a card of longevity. So pretty clear to me that you are building something right and that you are totally on the right path. And again, this is confirmed by the bottom line here. We've got the tree, the clover, and the fox. I know the fox can be a bit tricky, but when you've got the tree and clover next to each other, it's very clear that you're blooming and building this right thing for you. And what the fox can be telling us is that, you are right to put yourself first. You are right to say no to things that are not priority. It seems that you're really focused, and you're focused in a calm way. You don't feel like you need to be defensive because you're just really into this and it's really working for you. So overall, it's a really beautiful portrait, very clear message with the ring right in the middle, telling us that you are totally on the right track. So keep doing what you're doing, navigate this relationship calmly like you have been, because it is leading to results. And let me know when you reach your goals. I'd love to hear it. Leave me your comments. I'm looking forward to them, and best of luck with this wonderful journey. Before I let you go, I want to remind you that I have helpful links for you in the description, so I'd love it if you check them out. And I'm looking forward to our next reading together. So thanks again so much for tuning in, and best of luck with this wonderful portrait. Okay, and here we are with the fourth group. This is the group of the yellow sword. And for this group, I am going to lay out an augmented line of 5. So I've got my deck that is already shuffled, but I am going to shuffle it just a bit more and then fan out the deck and draw the cards. All right, look at this wonderful augmented line of 5. We've got so many positive cards. We've got the child right in the middle, and we've got the flowers, and we also have the beautiful fish. Now, are you on the right track? I would say, curiously, I think you are on the right track, but there is something new that you need to add on to this current track. And I say that because we've got the tower and ship on this side, and we've got the anchor on the other side, and we also have the house, which is a very solid card, but we also have the child right in the middle of it. So this is a pretty unique reading, and that's what I think it's telling us. So let's start weaving the combinations and draw this whole picture together. Now, the tower and ship is a really helpful combination to answer this question, because it has to do with something that you've been doing for some time, and you had been sailing in for some time. You are sailing in it now, and you want to continue sailing in it. And I say that because the tower and ship have to do with this longer term path, and it seems that it has been helpful to you. We're going to see this in a number of combinations. But then there's the child that comes in, and so it adds a new layer to your path. So there could be some adjustment But because of the house, it's really building on top of it. And because of the tower, you're still building on top of it. So you are on the right track, but there is a new layer that is added onto this track. And I think this is going to be something really beneficial because after the child, we've got the anchor and fish, and this has to do with achieving financial goals. So if this has to do with your finances, then you are definitely on the right track. You just need to add something to it, and it will lead to this very important accomplishment which has to do with money, possibly also practical affairs, investments, and other tangible things that are important for you now. So this is a very beautiful line that tells us that you are on the right track, that you are building something important, and that it has to do most probably with your finances and some other important practical matters. And, because the anchor is figuring right after the child, it's possible that you need to lay some new foundations on top of the ones that you had been building, because you need to add this dimension to your path. So again, this is a really interesting reading where it's telling us you are on the right path because you've been on this for some time, and then a new layer comes in and you keep building on it so that it can help you achieve these financial goals. And the reason I want to read the tower and the ship as that you are on the right path is because of the house and flowers in here. So the house is a beautiful card of building something solid, establishing foundations. It is a card of success as well. And with the flowers, we can look forward to some wonderful successes and to your efforts bearing fruit. And so with the child here, there is a sense of renewal. So when I see the flowers, it is something that comes back into play. It is not altogether new. It has to do with reunions, renewal, something coming back, something that was away that comes back. And the reason we associate this understanding with the flowers is because it's the card of spring. So it's the idea of, life coming back after the dead of winter, basically. And so that's why I feel that you're already on the right path, but there is something that you need to add to it. And as you do this, you want to renew your effort. I do feel this is a wonderful reading and that there's lots of wonderful rewards that are going to come through the current path you're on. I mean, we have the house, the flowers, the anchor and the fish and the ship. All of these cards are tangible in the sense that they deliver on something. So your effort is going to bear fruit. Keep doing what you're doing, but be ready to add an additional layer on top of this so that it really delivers on this prosperity and this abundance that we're seeing in these cards. Now let's add some more insights through the diamonds. We've got the house, anchor, flowers, and ship. And this is another very clear set of cards that tells us that you are building on the right foundations. The house and anchor says, stick with what you're doing, keep living where you're living, keep building what you're building, keep working where you're working, because that is so clearly coming through the house and the anchor. And then we have the flowers and ship, which is the idea of renewal. So when I see the flowers after the anchor and also the ship, I get a sense that you want to be more flexible. So you have been building on the right things, you are heading in the right direction, but as you add these new layers, you want to be a bit more flexible and adjust so that your path is a bit bigger and you accommodate all the pieces together. So be ready to do that. And also you might want to explore things a little bit. So both the house and anchor can be a little bit rigid. And then in contrast, we have the flowers, which is, free and expressive. And we have the ship, which is all about adventure and exploring. So I'm getting a sense that there is a contrast in these cards. And the idea is that you want to maybe change a little bit how you've been doing things and just be open to doing things a little bit differently. You have been doing the right thing. There's just a few more layers or one layer coming through. Maybe it's more than one. And you want to adjust for that. You want to do that though. You want to be flexible and find a way to accommodate it all, because what you're doing is really on the right path and there's so much reward down the line for you that I really wish for you to be willing to adjust and to be a little bit flexible, because it's going to be really rewarding for you. So don't resist the adjustment. Don't resist this new layer that you need to add on to what you're doing. And then we've got the second diamond here. We've got the house, fish, flowers, and tower. So this is a really beautiful card combination here. Any way you put the cards together, it's really beautiful. And I do feel that this has a lot to do with your prosperity. When we see the house and fish, it normally has to do with real estate investments and property and hard assets. And with the flowers and towers, it really looks like you are building something secure for the long-term future. I mean, this is such a beautiful set of cards. You are on the right track. Just be willing to add this new piece to it, or maybe there's more than one piece. Be willing to be flexible and maybe think outside the box a little bit, because this is just wonderful. This is a wonderful path that you're setting sail into. So beautiful cards in this augmented line of 5. I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave me some comments below. I'm so looking forward to reading them. And before I let you go, I want to invite you to have a look at the links in the description box. There's plenty of helpful resources for you. So thanks again for tuning in, and I am so looking forward to our next reading together. All right, here we are in the last reading. This is for the Compass group. And for this reading, I am going to do a medium-sized hourglass. And my deck is already shuffled. I'm just going to shuffle a little bit more, and I'm going to deal the cards into the hourglass. Here we go. Wow, an interesting set of cards. I am really interested in this medium-sized hourglass. Now, what is really beautiful is the middle line. We've got the lily and sun, and that's an all-around success card. And what is also great is to see the key and the rider on the right-hand side of the hourglass. The challenge is clearly coming through the mouse and coffin. So what we're seeing is that even though you are on the right track, because that's pretty much what the lily and sun are telling us, even though you're on the right track, there is something that needs to end. And I feel that you might be resisting, you don't want to let that go. But really, if you want to see your full potential manifesting, like what we're seeing on this side, I think you have to be ready to let go of something. So let's weave these lines and put this whole story together. In the top line, we've got the garden, mouse, and key. So obviously the mouse and garden points to a challenging situation, a group of people who is unhelpful, maybe energy vampires, a stressful work environment, a stressful any place actually. And this is something that needs to be resolved. If you want your full potential through this path to manifest, this is an issue that needs to be resolved. And it's really nice to see the key, because the key is the card of resolutions, and it's the card of intelligence and brilliance. So you've got the solutions. And what's really nice is that it's on the right-hand side of the line. So, you know, there's the issues and then there's the solutions. So it's a pretty clear line that tells us that you are successfully going to resolve these issues. So just face up to them and also be honest about them. Don't try to avoid the idea that there's an issue. Don't try to avoid looking at it. Be honest about this, because, this is an important ending that needs to happen so that you can manifest the beautiful potential that you have here through the sun and key, as well as the rider. In the bottom line, that's an interesting set of cards here. We've got the book, coffin, and rider. That's interesting. Now, when I see the book and coffin together, and the coffin and rider as well, actually, you want to stop before moving forward, because not only does this thing have to end, and these T cross each other, but you could be lacking in information. And we're going to see this through this diagonal when we do the mini portraits. So I want you to stop and step back and have a look at what you could be missing. Get some information, read, research, maybe ask questions, but you do need to slow down at least and stop a little bit before you move forward, because you're lacking in some information. And I don't want you to prevent yourself from the wonderful success that awaits you just because of this issue here and this ending. So I would like you to consider this. I would like you to step back and to take a break a little bit from your ambitions and to check in with yourself. Check in with the information, do some research, double check everything, and then when you're ready, then you move past this and you can continue in your path. And really, the mouse and coffin, they're part of both lines. So it's tying everything together. This is an important ending. I would also add that you don't want to keep moving forward without getting this out of the way. Get this out of the way and then move forward, and then you'll achieve this major goal and this major success. So very beautiful cards. Now let's turn to the columns. We've got the garden and book. So the garden and book is about knowledge. It can represent a library, a classroom. So if you're in for some learning, you might need to do some learning. If you need to do some research, you need to do this research. And you might also want to explore certain areas, like this could be an opportunity as you sort of slow down a little bit, explore alternative options just to make sure that you've selected the best option. That's also a possible suggestion. Now the key column is the mouse and the coffin. So something isn't working, okay? Something that you're doing isn't working, or something that's happening in your surroundings, possibly this surrounding here, indicated by the garden, is not working. So I wish for you to end this, whatever it is, so that things can work better. So there needs to be an ending here. There's something that you need to get rid of, and it might not be easy. And the reason I say that is because we have the mouse in the coffin. So it can feel like it's dragging. It can feel like it's draining you. It can feel like it's really not easy for you to put an end to this. But you know what? I really think you need to. I really think you should put in the effort, because what comes after, the key and rider, is a beautiful combination that tells us that you're going to achieve your goals. That's what the key and rider tell us. Goal achievement, mission accomplished. That's what the key and rider tell us. So you see, we've got the key and rider after the mouse and coffin. So it's pretty clear to me that this situation needs to end here so that you can achieve this goal, okay? So take the trouble to have an honest look at what needs to end, and, you know, put your path a little bit on hold to take care of the situation, to cover your bases and consider other options, getting rid of this thing, and then you're going to achieve your goal. So yes, you are on the right path. This thing needs to be taken care of, and you're going to achieve the goal that is the result of your path. So a beautiful set of cards. Really appreciate the clarity. Now let's wrap up this hourglass with the two mini portraits here. So we're going to tie more cards together. The one on the left, we've got the garden, lily, and coffin. Again, a very clear indication of a phase that needs to end. The lily and garden can refer to the job. It can refer to something related to your career or your hobby, or something that you do that's important for you. And with the coffin, we are seeing an important ending. So I think there needs to be this closure of this phase so that you can continue on your path and achieve your goals. And then we've got the book, lily, and mouse. And this is another combination that has to do with some challenges here. The book and mouse have to do with missing some facts, misinformation, being ignorant about something. And with the lily on the other side of the book, it can refer to knowledge for your career, some education. It's possible that something that you're involved with, whether it's an area of learning, is not exactly the right one for you, and maybe you need to change that and put an end to it in order to readjust and continue moving in what is the right path for you so that you can achieve these goals. But it's also more likely, I think, that you need to cover your bases. You need to put some things on hold a little bit, go back and double check things, end anything that is unhelpful, and clearly there needs to be an ending here, and then move back into your path towards your goal. Now in the second mini portrait, we've got the mouse, sun, and rider, a very beautiful combination that suggests that after you take care of this, you're going to move forward very positively and achieve your goals. And similarly, the coffin, sun, and key has to do with a very positive ending and a goal achievement, which ties into what we read through the key and rider. But the coffin in this line can also point to this ending that really needs to happen. And so we see that once this is out of the way, we've got the sun and key and this wonderful goal achievement and this all-around success combination. So overall, this is a really nice hourglass, very helpful, I would say. Just be honest about this thing that needs to end, that you need to get out of your life or out of your path, and then continue moving forward, because this is definitely going to lead to the results that you're after. We've got the lily and sun, the key and rider. These are very beautiful cards. They're also happening on the right-hand side of the hourglass, which is the later part in the timeline of your reading. And so I am really convinced that you are on the right track, but I'm equally convinced that something needs to end and that you need to take this seriously and get it out of your way so that you can pursue your path and your goals. So let me know what you make of this beautiful hourglass here. Leave me your comments. I am so looking forward to reading them. And before I let you go, I want to invite you to have a look at the links in the description and to have a look at the resources and a whole lot of other things really that I offer around the Lenormand practice. So thank you so much for tuning into this reading. Very best of luck with this, and I'm looking forward to our next one together.